What are you, deaf? Don't try that Halloween shit with me.
You think it's over now? You're wrong.
All aboard the night train.
It's over, Prime.
This is the siege.
I'm a man of my word.
Hey. Yeah. Dead or alive, consider this home. No killing the vibe in the night watch zone. Xenomorphs hype when the lights come on. Hit like and subscribe and the show might blow. Go viral, no COVID. It's a spiral emotions. Hand on the Bible. Only go sign on the dopest your vitals. Better tune in, yeah, you know it's vital. From Schwarzenegger to Kane Hodder. Corey G down to Harry Potter. Shit's Sigourney Weaver, love the night watch zone. Come with me to the night watch zone.
Well, there are two things a man should never run from, even if they cost him his life.
Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on Tuesday night, ready to step once again into Battle World. Corey Anders with me, Killian, of course, and Eric. And guys, this is going to be a really interesting discussion. I can't wait to do this. Two movies that share a lot in common. For you guys in the chat, thank you so much for coming to join us. We appreciate that. A blanket hello to everyone. We got Kenny in the chat. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Melissa's in the chat. Classic 80s is in the chat. What's going on? Paula in the chat saying loved both movies. All right.
Oh,
Okay. Very, very cool. Let's see. Kenny's in the chat. Russell, good to see you, Russell. Ben, what's going on? Good to see you. Saying I haven't seen either of these. All right. Well, you should definitely check them out. I definitely would recommend that. When we have these battles, they're definitely films that we recommend. We got Gerald. What's going on, Gerald? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We got Denisha. Hey, Denisha. Good to see you. Julie's
hey.
in the chat. Good to see you, Julie. All right. Very, very cool. And of course, we've got our good buddy Ginger Ninja.
There he is.
Hello.
Hey. You're all right, man. You're all right. Okay. Hey, we got Mr. Rick. What's going on, Rick? Good to see you. Didn't see either of these movies. Wow.
Oh,
You guys got some movies to catch up on. This is a good one. Yeah. We got Marty in the house. What's up, Marty? Good to see
Marty.
you, man.
hey, nice.
Yeah. Our alien expert himself.
Yeah.
All right. Really excited for Romulus. Okay, guys. So let's talk about who we have coming into Battle World tonight. Eric, let's have you introduce our first contender in the corner number one.
Okay, we've all been on long trips before, whether it's like field trips when we were kids or just taking the family out for a nice vacation. And one of the biggest fears you could have is leaving someone behind. Now, most of the time, if that happens, it may only take a few hours to turn around and go pick them up. Well, what happens if it takes a few months to get to where they are? And what happens to that forgotten party? You know, months will feel like forever. And then, especially when you're literally the only one on the planet. Freezing temperatures, lack of food, and hope that is just starting to go away more and more as the planet revolves around the sun. It's literally a do or die situation. So I say grab yourself a bin of potatoes, turn on that disco music as we find out why Matt Damon is known as the Martian.
All right. All right. You got to love the potatoes, bro. All right.
Oh, yeah. The
Coriander, how
dung
about you?
potatoes. Okay.
How about you, Coriander? Who's in corner number 2?
All right. Even if you're a top specialist on a space mission and have to face danger every second there, space is cruel, unforgiving, yet beautiful at the same time. It's going to take more than speed and your congeniality to figure this out. Luckily, you have one other survivor that has oceans of experience. Defy death within death itself if you can sharpen your will to live. Get ready to face the one thing that we need here on Earth, and yet can be an enemy in space. Here's Sandra Bullock and Gravity.
All right.
Very good.
Okay. That was all right. Good for you. Kill. Let's get to Kill's commentary. Kill, you came up with this matchup. 2 powerhouse movies. What's up, man?
I love these movies, man.
you
You know, these are 2 forgotten gems. You know, they're not that old, but
That's right.
you know, people don't really talk about them. And I think as far as science fiction movies go, you know, it's like you mix science fiction together with Castaway. You know, Tom Hanks. You know, Castaway, and you got a perfect storm of survival for these 2 protagonists. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I agree, man. And when we talk about these 2 movies, even though you would label them as sci-fi, I would really say that it's not really deep sci-fi. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's really about the struggle of these characters themselves. You know what I mean? So, you know, I was talking about this the other day on a live stream. I think sometimes those tags can really can confuse people, and sometimes they think to themselves, "Oh, we're going to be, you know, hanging out with little green men talking into an alien language and stuff like that." And neither of these movies are that whatsoever. No, hear that. So, all right. Well, hey, Kill, do you hear them coming to the ring, whether they're in spacesuits or in zero gravity? Do you hear them?
I don't know. I can't hear things in space. In space, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. You're good, man. Good for you. All right, guys. For you guys in the chat, for you guys watching the replay, sit back, relax as we head to Battle World Gravity versus the Martian. Here we go.
Astronaut is off structure. Dr. Stone is off structure. Dr. Stone detach. Must detach.
Go. Remote command.
Go.
Recovery.
Go.
Hey there.
All right.
Very good.
Okay, man. Yeah, man. This
Yeah.
is really interesting stuff between these 2 movies. So we're going to go category by category, giving the point to the film that we think deserves the point based upon that category alone. For you guys in the chat, let us know what your pick will be. We'll try to get to as many as we can. We may not get to everyone. And also, if you choose to send in a super chat, we'll make sure to get to your comment and or question. And you can also put the point to the movie of your choice as well. All right. So you guys know how we usually do this thing. Let's bring up the first category as always, Eric. We're going to start with the poster itself for these movies. So we've got first the poster for Gravity, and then we have the poster for The Martian. Eric, who gets the point and why?
I'm going with Gravity, and the reason why is it for me. It's really intriguing. I want to. Well, you can see it's in outer space, and I think the poster really works with the title of the film because you have this person just floating out in the middle of space, and with no gravity, they're going to continue to keep floating and floating and floating. So that's scary to me, but I also just like how it's all dark except for that little bit of sunlight and a little bit of the earth. I just think that looks really, really cool, contrasting each other.
All right. Okay. Kill, how about you?
This is the first easy street of the night for me. I'm going with Gravity. The Martian poster is just kind of Matt Damon looking at the screen like, hey, I'm Matt Damon, look at me. This, I don't know who that is, just off the rip, never seeing this. I just see some astronaut is about to have a bad day. I also can feel speed in this poster with the blurring of the object, at the lower right of the poster. And just like Eric said, I just love how it's a dark poster with just a little bit of sun peeking through, and it just looks intense. I feel intensity from this poster. So.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Very good. And Coriander, before I get to you real quick in the chat, we got Val jumping in.
Hey, Val.
Good to have you here, Val.
Hey.
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining here. Julie says George Clooney needed his bat credit card. There you go. I like it. Ginger Ninja saying science faction as opposed to science fiction. That's a really good point, man. I really appreciate that because there's a lot of stuff you could learn in these movies. We got Travis in the chat saying, hi all. I'm excited for this one. Now, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that because this is a little bit of a different type of battle we've got going on tonight. So it's great to hear that folks are open-minded to that. So thank you for putting that in the live chat. We really appreciate that. Let's see. We got Frank in the chat. What's going on? Saying, damn, can't watch it now, but I can't wait to watch this tomorrow. I'd vote for The Martian. Okay.
Awesome.
Great to have you here and hope you enjoy the replay. Coriander, how about you? Where are we going to go for poster?
Yeah, I have to agree with the gentleman here. I mean, Gravity's definitely the better poster.
Okay. All right. And hey to Wayne. Wayne's in the chat. And Gina. And it looks like Ginger Ninja is going with Gravity. We got Wayne also going with Gravity. Let's see. Paula saying she loves the contrasting colors. We got the bearded one in the house. Good to see you, Eric.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome. Saying what's up to everybody. We got Quentin in the chat. Good to see you too. Hope you're doing well. And Eric saying, I love The Martian, one of my favorites. Well, thank you so much, man. Again, we appreciate that. Definitely having some fun doing something different. For me, I have to agree with all of you guys with poster. I think that the Gravity poster, it just has curiosity and intrigue, right? Like it's just, more intrigue going on with it. But I also do like the colors. I mean, the Martian poster is good. I don't have any issue with it, but I just think with Gravity, there's just this curiosity. I remember when I first saw the poster before I even knew what the movie was, and I was just like, whoa, what the heck is going to go on in this movie? So it already had me so curious. So I'm going to go with Gravity. Okay. Paula also going with Gravity. Eric going with The Martian. All right. There we go. Okay. Next up, we're going to be talking about the tagline. The tagline, Eric. So for The Martian, it's bring him home. And then for Gravity, it is don't let go.
Ooh. I'm going with Gravity. That one's really good. Because it fits so well with, if it's an outer space movie. You know what I mean? You need gravity. If it's saying don't let go, that means something bad's really going to happen in this film, even if you haven't seen the poster. Bring Him Home works fine for The Martian, for the type of film it is, but I think Gravity works perfectly with its tagline.
All right. Kill, how about you?
Both taglines are pretty good. Bring Him Home is pretty, it's there in your face, like, hey, get him back to Earth. But I'm going with Gravity because that tagline can play to two different, themes. It could be the physical, like, theme of her holding on to stuff, because she does that a lot, like holding on to things for her life. And then again, then it could also lead to her will, don't let go, don't give up, to survive. And yeah, it just sounds really powerful. So yeah, I'm going with Gravity.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
I am gonna do I think I'm gonna go with The Martian. Because where I've kind of seen the movie, you get it. You really get it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. All right. For me, I think both of these work, because when you look at a poster, you see the poster, and then of course the tagline is what kind of finishes the statement, so to speak. So when you look at the poster for Gravity and you say Bring It Home, the name of the film is The Martian, I'm thinking, wait a minute, what? I have no idea, any context. There's curiosity for sure. It's like, bring him home. Did we get out there? How did we do that? And Kill, you make a good point too with Don't Let Go with Gravity. There's a lot of things that that could imply, and of course with the name, the title of the film. So I gotta give this one to Gravity, man. I think that with the poster, I'm looking at the poster, it's like, don't let go. It's like, well, bro, it looks like she already did let go. So what's gonna happen? Or person, you can only assume that's Sandra Bullock, right? So I'm gonna go with Gravity on this one as well. Okay. Let's see. Ginger Ninja going with Gravity for the tagline, saying it sounds better. Bring Him Home is rather dull, but the movie isn't. All right. Okay. Wayne's going with Gravity as well. Okay. Very cool. Next up, let's go to the score in these films. The score. So, Eric, what do you think? What are we going to go with?
To be honest, for me, we're going to go 3 for 3 with Gravity. The reason why is we're talking about the score, so that makes it, we're not talking about like any of the actual songs that are in the movies.
Right.
I think the score is used really well to help with that intensity in a lot of the scenes in Gravity. Honestly, concerning the score in The Martian, I only remember like one happy-go-lucky tune when he's actually kind of trying to get his, his potato garden going and stuff like that. So I think the score for Gravity is more memorable and it works better for the film.
Okay. All right. Kill, how about you?
This is another easy streak for me. I'm going with Gravity. The way that the music ratchets up, especially in the first scene of everything like going batshit crazy. The composer, I think his name is Steven Weber, did a fantastic job of just getting you in there, and then it's just ramping, and it fits so great with so many of the action survival scenes that Sandra goes through in Gravity. So yeah, I gotta go with Gravity.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
I mean, it's a bummer that we couldn't go with the songs because I'm a disco girl and I would have so picked The Martian, but you didn't. It's not that way. I guess I have to go with Gravity. So there you go.
Well, you got to think about it like this too: is the fact that with Gravity, we didn't have musical numbers like that to
I
that
know.
extent.
So that's
Yeah.
like, it kind of
But
sucks
at least
because The
both films,
Martian had
but both
way
films have a
more.
score.
They do, but still,
Yeah.
that should be
Yeah.
included, man.
Come on, man. All right, real quick to the chat before I get to mine. And Val, thank you so much for putting links into the chat for Eric's channel and also for our channel membership and Patreon. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. If you'd like to become a channel member, you can just hit the join button next to subscribe or click that link, and you can join us for exclusive watch parties and hangouts and so forth. For score, I have to agree with you guys. I think that it's got to go. It's got to go to Gravity because the score was almost like a character in and of itself. It really was dominant throughout the whole movie, all the way up until the end, which, like in the intro, at the very end, when things, are revealed at the end, the score is great there too. So I definitely have to agree with you guys and go with Gravity on this one for the score. All right, let's go to our next category. Eric, let's talk about the opening of the film, which is, usually either the first couple minutes, could be up to 15 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm. I said this offline. This was my first time seeing either film.
Right.
And I watched The Martian first, and I thought, with that sandstorm or whatever you want to call it on Mars, that that knocks Matt Damon away, and they have to escape. It's going to be hard to top that. But then I sat down today and I watched Gravity, and holy shit, that wins hands down. They're both similar, but what I think I like about Gravity more is it's just two people, and the way this director focuses on the chaos in the background. Up front is Sandra Bullock. She's still hooked into that part of the ship, and she's just swinging around, and we're going around with her. So you have the disorientation, you have her yelling, you have George Clooney yelling, trying to calm her down.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what the hell is going to go on. And with the music, it's building up the intensity. Gravity, hands down, dude.
All right. Kill, how about you?
Once again, 3 for 3 easy streets. Gravity. I love the opening to Gravity, and it's so funny. There have been times where I've watched this movie on a plane wearing my headphones, and when that opening starts, just like Eric said, where she's being spun around, and that music is like dun, 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 and it just is ratcheting up. It's like, wow. And because of the way it's filmed, you feel the disorientation. And Sandra Bullock is such a great actress. You can hear it in her voice, in her screams. Get me off of this thing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm an astronaut, but I'm not like you guys. I'm more of a woman of science. Like I didn't sign up for this. And the chaos in the background, you see another astronaut just get aced out.
Yes.
Just destroyed. Like his whole face is just, fatality. It's just done. And it's just beautiful mayhem. So yeah, I gotta go with Gravity on this one.
That's the best way to say it, beautiful mayhem, because you have the beautiful earth behind all this stuff that's happening.
Yes.
Yes. Definitely.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. All right, Coriander, how about you?
I have to again agree with these guys, and I mean they both set it perfectly, so I have to go with Gravity.
When was this the first time that you seen both of these films, Coriander?
Yeah. Yep. You asked
Okay.
like you didn't know.
Well, no, because I wanted to talk about that. Were they what you expected?
No, because I mean, The Martian, Gravity I heard of, and I just thought it was going to be about, these two goons floating in space and blah, blah. It really didn't interest me. So I never, watched it. But yeah, so they were just a couple of movies that, I don't know, just never really piqued my interest. And like I said, The Martian, maybe I heard of it, but I don't know. But they're both really good.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. So is this the type of thing where, because again, when you think about sci-fi, sometimes you can have certain preconceived notions about
Yeah.
what the movies are. I mean, you know, even just by the title of a film, you might be thinking, oh,
Right.
well, it's going to be about this or whatever, but then you find out that it might be a little bit different,
Yeah.
you know?
And
Yeah.
both of these movies prove that they were just, a little bit different.
It's a
Yeah.
win. I love it.
Right.
We continue to step up. Okay, for
Oh,
opening, I think listen, Eric, you said it perfectly, man. The opening for The Martian is so good, man, because it really kind of, it's like, wow, it's like really so intense. But man, that opening for Gravity, that's some ridiculous stuff, man. Because like every time you think it can't get any worse, it does. You're spinning around. I mean, she's she's connected to the damn ship itself, spinning around, and then she gets knocked off of that, and she's floating away. It's over. Like, call it, right? And you're just thinking, well, how is this going to go? So you're on the edge of your seat. So I definitely have to agree. This has to go to Gravity on this one.
And the
They're both great
director's still
openings, but-
working with that disorientation, because as she's floating away, she's spinning around. But what I love what he did is her face is stationary. It's the background that's spinning that we're noticing as the viewer. So
yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool stuff. And hey, we got May in the chat. What's going on, May? Good to see you.
Hello.
You're doing well. Thank you for joining us here. Russell wanted to go with The Martian for score. Okay. Very, very cool. Just catching up with these guys a little bit. We got Hunter in the chat. Very, very cool. Saying I just started watching the Cronenberg videos and having a ball. Hey, well, thank you so much. Glad that you're enjoying them. We definitely love David Cronenberg here. Let's see. And Hunter's going with The Martian. Very cool. Russell is going with The Martian for the opening. All right. We got Jason in the chat. What's going on, Jason? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. And Wayne's a fan of your t-shirt, Eric.
Well,
there you go.
So am I.
Nice. Okay. Next up, let's go to our next category. The scarier threat, Eric. The scarier threat. So you're in the shoes of either of these characters. How do you explain which one would be the scarier threat to you?
It's pretty much a no-win situation for either person. Matt Damon or Sandra Bullock. What scares me personally more is Gravity, because what, Matt Damon might be on another planet, but his feet are still on the ground, not floating endlessly in outer space, whether you're flipping around or not. That just alone terrifies me. Not to mention the cold or some debris possibly hitting you, but just floating endlessly in space, that scares the hell out of me. So going with Gravity.
All right. Kill, how about you?
This is tough. They're both scary. Matt Damon is on a planet, which that does make it easier, but it's a planet that takes them about 10 months to get to from Earth. Whereas Sandra Bullock, she's right outside Earth's orbit. But if you don't have anything to put your feet down on, and you don't have any of the supports that Matt Damon has the whole entire planet Earth helping him, literally. The smartest men and women from like multiple countries. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Gravity, because you're just floating, and like Eric said, if no one stops you or nothing stops you, you're just gonna keep floating into the dark abyss, and it's a wrap.
All right. Okay, Coriander, how about you?
Oh yeah, I totally think Gravity is the scarier threat. I mean, you're pretty much, you're gonna die. Like with Matt Damon, there's a chance that I'm gonna survive, but with Sandra Bullock, yeah, no way. And the fact that like shit, like with George Clooney, right, in his character, he flew until his oxygen ran out, and he knew he was gonna, which I think is, yeah, I don't know. She obviously, had the scarier threat than Matt. So yeah.
Okay. For me, this is actually pretty tough, man, because here's the other thing that that I think about, it's the amount of time, right? Because if Sandra Bullock, if she dies, then it's going to be quick, or quicker than Matt Damon, starving to death, or freezing to death, or whatever could have happened to him, in The Martian. I mean, that takes time. So you're you're thinking about it. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of messed up as well. That being said, definitely the fact, and Eric, you said it too, the fact that you have your feet on the ground versus not, at least when everything pops off, that is scary. So it's like, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm thinking of it more of like an initial scary thing, because initially I think gravity is the scarier threat, but I think long term, I think the Martian is the scarier threat. You know what I mean? Because that rescue could come, but the question is, could it come in time? So you're like hopeful, then you're not, and you're hopeful, then you're not. And through the movie, that's what he had to deal with, which was like, it was a pretty powerful movie in that sense. But I'm going to give the point to Gravity. All right, real quick too, in the chat, just to catch up with these guys, Paul is going with Gravity. We got Cody in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. And we got Wayne going with Gravity, scarier threat. I prefer The Martian as a movie, but so far voted for Gravity. All right.
That's how these things work out.
Well, sometimes that is how it goes. Let's see. And I think I'm caught up there. Next category. Oop. Hold on. Let's see. I have both of them up. Let's see. Next category is acting, Eric. Okay, who gets the point for acting?
Oof, I they're both full of really good acting, but again, I'm gonna have to go with Gravity, because the reason why is I think lots of times less is more, and I think the fact that we have literally just two people in this whole film. There's some voiceovers, but that doesn't count. You know what I mean? You have literally two people, and after a half hour, one of those two people are gone, and the focus is on Sandra. And George is great. He's being George, flirting with her and stuff like that. Just being George, but also he's really good when he has to calm her down and take authority. Sandra is so good in this film, whether she's scared, whether she's breaking down and crying, whether she's determined. Hats off to her. I think she got nominated for an Oscar, well deserved. Everybody in The Martian is great, but I think just the fact that there was, for an hour of a 90-minute movie, it's just one person, and she knocks it out of the park. I gotta give it to Gravity.
Okay, all right. Kill, how about you?
Both movies have great performances. They're, pretty much every actor, whether they're a character actor or a well-known actor in The Martian, knock it out the park. And there's also comedy there. Matt Damon, especially, there are certain scenes where he's not as serious, and then, somewhere he's kind of breaking down a little bit. But with Sandra Bullock, there's really no comedy in there. There's fear, there's determination, there's will to survive. And like Eric said, to be able to do that when you only have mainly one person in the movie, that's a rare and hard thing. I mean, we saw it in Castaway with Tom Hanks, and certain other movies where it's really only one actor. So it's really hard to keep people engaged and still pull that off and to make it work. But I'm going to go with Gravity because she knocks it out the park. Wow. She sells the fear, she sells the terror and the determination. And yeah.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
See, I'm going to actually give it to Matt Damon because I think his role is a lot more challenging to keep you entertained, and because you don't have all the explosions in space she's dealing with, trying to get from, one place to another, you know what I mean? And with Damon, he was just stuck there, on this planet that looked red. It was dusty, and Yeah, I'm giving it to friggin' Matt Damon because he did
Okay.
such a good job. Yeah.
All right. This is tough. I mean, now this is a category for everyone that's in both of these films too.
Mhm.
But that being said, I think that kind of like what you guys said earlier. I mean, I think Sandra Bullock did a really good job as far as just there was a lot of intensity and despair that she showed throughout the runtime. There was a lot of that, and very very little lightness. With The Martian, of course, you saw a spectrum of emotion, the ups and downs, and plus that doesn't even count other characters in both of these films. But to me, I think I got to edge this out to The Martian, because I think specifically with Matt Damon, he had a huge range, man. I mean, he was able to show despair and intensity, but he also could show kindness. He could show a comedic side. He could show desperation, depression. I mean, when
Not
he
only
has
that, but the physical side of the acting that his character went through towards the end,
well, that's a
when
good
he
point
got out
too.
of the shower, he was so
Emaciated.
scrawny, and yeah, man, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, so I just think that he definitely had, and that's just how the movie works, you know what I mean? That's just how the script worked. But he had a lot of just ups and downs that he went through. So I'm going to go with The Martian for that. Okay. In the chat, let's see. We got Happy in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Hey.
Let's see. And Russell saying Sandra Bullock does awesome in any movie. Well, there you go. All right. Next up, Eric, we're going to talk about characters. Okay, so this obviously will have to include all characters from both movies. So what do you think?
I know with acting, I said I'm going to go with less is more. I'm going to go with The Martian on this because we have a wider range of characters, and I really like everyone in this movie, and I think this is where I don't know if you would say it's an ensemble cast, but it helps. Jessica Chastain is always good. She's really likable in this, and Michael Pena, he's always fun, no matter what he's in, whether it's something like this or something like Ant-Man or Devil and I was so happy when Donald Glover showed up. He's in the movie 10 minutes maybe, but he's so charismatic, and I like how he's so shy. Like, he doesn't want to celebrate at the end, with the party. So he's still kind of sheltered, and that just makes him more relatable to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going with The Martian.
All right, Kill. How about you?
I'm going with The Martian. I mean, for obvious reasons. One, there's more characters there, but every character, no matter how long they were on the screen, just like Eric said, you felt Donald Glover. You felt that he was like a very much an introvert and brilliant at that, and a big old Lord of the Rings geek.
Yes.
Right.
But what I loved is you had the Earth cast, you had Jessica Chastain's space crew, and all of these people just gave great performances. And Chiwetel Ejiofor back on the Earth crew.
Yeah.
Man, look, I just was like, okay, this is awesome. And just the scenes where he's like kind of at the beginning of it trying to figure out how to at least communicate with Matt Damon was just very interesting. And they all just did a really great job. So yeah, I got to go with The Martian on this one.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
I think, I'm going to have to do The Martian also, just because there was a lot of great actors, in this movie. And even if they weren't big roles, it was still, they still kind of played a pivotal piece to, this movie. So I enjoyed all the characters in The Martian. So yeah.
All right. I have to agree. I think that The Martian, the thing of it is, when you have that many characters in a movie, even though it's a really a Matt Damon film, but I think that's what's kind of that's what's really good about the film, is that you still, like you said, Kill, you still have those moments where each of these actors were able to do certain things and really shine. And I have to agree, man. I think Chiwetel Ejiofor, he was so good in this movie. Like every time he was on screen, I thought it was just really, really cool seeing him and seeing how he is trying to figure this out. You know, even when he had certain scenes where that one scene where he was talking to Mackenzie Davis, and he's like, when he says, "Are you kidding me?" Do you think he means, "Are you kidding me?" Or do you mean, "Are you kidding me?" You know, just little things like that, showing like quirks of these characters. I think that was pretty cool too, and you really got a sense of who they were. And shout out to Sean Bean as well.
I was about to say he wasn't a bad guy this time.
He wasn't, and he didn't die.
He didn't die.
He lived. Take that, Trevelyan.
Shouts out to Trevelyan.
And if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Right?
For England, James. That's right.
But yeah.
Right.
Good for you, Eric. Good for you. Real quick in the chat, Kenny is going with Matt Damon. Paula is going with The Martian. Let's see. And Wayne was saying Matt Damon even showed some humor in a dire situation. Yeah, absolutely.
He did, yeah.
I thought, listen, both of these actors and both of these movies had great acting and great like human connection, man. I think that's what makes these movies so great. Russell's also going with The Martian. All right. Wayne says, do Star Wars A New Hope versus Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. That would be a great battle. That could be a good battle. It could. That'd be tough, man.
Hey,
Kill, what do you think of that?
I say yes, because there's no lying here.
There's never been any lying here. All right. Let's go to our next category. Okay. So we've got story. Story, Eric. Who gets the point for story?
I'm gonna give it to, because we're just talking about story, not execution. I'm gonna give it to The Martian because there's more to it. There is, I mean, they're both kind of simple. One guy is stuck on a planet. People got to try to find a way to rescue him. The other one is she's stuck in space. She got to find a way to get home, type of thing. But what I think puts The Martian above it is because Sandra's just trying to get home. Matt's trying to find a way to survive so someone can get to him. So he's got to find out how to grow food. How is he going to get from here to there with, he's got to charge the battery every night, stuff like that. He's got to not go insane, and, he finally gets to talk to people through the computer. I just think there's more to the story in The Martian that's enjoyable than Gravity.
All right. Kill, how about you?
I agree with everything Eric just said. I'm going with The Martian because there are so many layers to it. You have the crew, upset that they left a man behind. You have the bureaucracy that's happening back down on Earth at NASA with Jeff Daniels and so forth. And then of course you have Matt and his will to live. So all of that combined, it was just a lot going on, which really gave The Martian more layers than Gravity has. So yeah.
All right, you're going with The Martian. Okay, Coriander, how about you? Story, who gets the point?
Yeah, I definitely have to give it to The Martian. I mean, you had Matt Damon figuring out how to grow his own food and his own feces on a foreign planet. I mean, come on. He's like, it was fun to watch him do what he was doing. I enjoyed it. So,
all right.
Yeah, man.
For me, I think I have to agree. I think when you talk about story, it's just so layered, right? Because not only are you dealing with Matt Damon and his emotion, but the emotion of the crew that left him behind, and that was actually, a nice little plot point. And also, those on Earth that feel the responsibility, of this mission and so forth. And it's funny because in a story that is truly a Matt Damon movie, a Matt Damon vehicle, just like we said for characters, you had some really great story moments with so many other great actors too. So it really had, even though it's heavily leaning into Matt Damon, it has a balance to it. In other words, like you get enough from outside of his perspective to really be invested in the movie from the very beginning all the way up until the end when he's in that lecture, and you could just kind of you just feel this hopefulness, like, you know, bro just survived on Mars, you know, nothing can stop him, right? So I'm going to go with The Martian on this one as well. All right, let's just jump to the chat real quick, catch up with these guys. We got Jerry in the chat. What's going on, Jerry? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right. And we got Mayanne saying The Martian for story. Okay. Paula is saying I have to go with The Martian. Wayne saying The Martian. Eric explained it perfectly. All right. Next category up, Eric, is going to be your favorite scene from either film. What scene would that be?
Okay, first one that popped into my head is, yeah, oh God, there's so many good scenes in both of these movies. The first one that popped into my head was from The Martian. And it's a scene where Matt Damon, he's in the Land Rover and he's trying to get from point A to point B. I think he's trying to get to another space station or craft that landed on Mars like years, before.
Yeah.
And it's nighttime and he's freezing. And he's trying to debate, do I turn on the heater and waste my battery and not be able to make it or get back? Or do I tough it out and maybe freeze to death? It's not a very long scene, but the way he acts, and then he just finally, he gives up and basically says, F it, turns on the heater and goes back. It just, in a very bleak movie, which does have some levity, I think it's just the scene that stands out most because it's kind of Matt showing his frustration and he's starting to really lose hope at that point of the movie. So,
yeah. Yep. I agree with you. Kill, how about you?
My favorite scene is from Gravity, and essentially, I love the opening one where all the disasters happening. But my favorite scene is when she kind of has to do like this leap of faith jump to another section of, I guess, the space station or so forth that's there, and she gets out of her gear and. One of the things that makes it my favorite scene is the way it's filmed. She's swimming through the station, and as she's swimming, the camera's just showing, her just going through and just, oh, there's a spark there. Oh, a fire just started. And just all the little details of everything just floating around, how dangerous that literally is. And as she's kind of going through, she then does this move where she kind of grabs herself, kind of just like, wow, I just survived that. And it's like her kind of taking a gasp in front of this huge, like, circular kind of oculus, looking out into space. So it's just like, man, just the intensity of her doing that and then surviving that, just to have the thing get caught on fire, like, out of the frying pan into the fire, like, god damn, she can't catch a break. So
yeah. All right. Coriander, how about you?
So yeah, it's kind of funny because at one point I talked about, seeing these goons floating in space, right? And I guess the scene I thought of was when George Clooney and Sandra Bullock was floating through space, but they were, the scenes of the Earth and just the special effects in this movie was incredible. And some of the visuals of like Matt Damon, it's like visually, it's nothing to really look at. But Sandra Bullock, that was the only thing that she had going for her out of this whole situation was the beauty that, that space does have, because damn. But yeah, I think that was probably, because they were having a moment together, and yeah, it was a beautiful scene all around. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good scene because it like you said, and you said it in the intro, you're basically fighting death constantly, but it's also with beauty around you, just being out there. And actually that's what was really cool about George Clooney's character. Let me just give a shout out to George Clooney because I don't think he gets
He's still floating up there.
Right. He doesn't get enough credit, man, because I think his character was so cool, because he was just so grounded. And like he said, I'm out here in front of this beauty, what could be better, so it was kind of a nice balance to Sandra Bullock, who was totally on edge for almost 80% of this film until she finally, was able to let go of her own fear and so forth. That being said, favorite scene, I'm going to go with The Martian. And there's great scenes in all these movies, but the first scene that came to my mind is when Matt Damon, he's kind of getting some stuff together. He's figuring out how to communicate, and then he's going for some of the other supplies. He's in the rover, and he's like so pissed off that all he's got is disco music, and he keeps ragging on Jessica Chastain, and it's so hilarious. And then you got Donna Summer's Hot Stuff playing, and after a while he's just like, you know what, let me just dance to this, and he's like grooving to it and stuff like that. Like I saw both of these movies in the theater, and I'm so glad I did. But I remember at that point in the movie, because you had been going on this roller coaster with him, but that was a moment where you could kind of just take a breath and kind of enjoy the moment. And that's exactly what his character showed in that moment. It didn't matter that he was on Mars. He was just going to enjoy that moment, even with music that he thought sucks. But I bet you at the end, he probably became the biggest disco fan of all time,
I love that scene. He's ragging on Jessica. I love, like, after that explosion happens, he talks about everything he lost, but sadly the disco music still survived.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Oh man. All right. And real quick too in the chat, Paul is going with the flower scene in The Martian. Ooh, that is really cool. Great pick. Wayne saying he's going with The Martian. My favorite scene is when he starts working out making the food and is so happy about it. Yeah, that again, man, these are great movies just for inspiration, both of them, and Wayne, thank you so much for the congrats, man. We appreciate that. May saying we're 2 likes away from 30. Very cool. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. Helps to support the channel and the stream. And thank you, Val, for putting links in the chat for channel members and so forth. We appreciate that. Let's see. And definitely, like Val said, sending tons of love and prayers to Melissa, and definitely thinking about you, and hope that you're hanging in there as best as you can. Okay. All right. And hey, DJ, good to see you, man. All right. Next up, favorite quote, Eric. Favorite quote.
Honestly, it's hard for me to actually remember one. So I'm just going to go with, Matt Damon being disappointed that the disco music survived the explosion. Because honestly, I can't, other than that, nothing's really popping off to me.
Okay. All right. Kill, how about you?
I'm going to go with Matt Damon. I'm going to science the hell out of this.
All right.
Because he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, look, let me just jump into that's exactly the one I was gonna use too. Yep. It was so funny because he's sitting there, he's trying to figure out what to do in this hopeless situation. You're on another planet and that you're gonna run out of food. And he's like, lucky for me, I'm a botanist. He's like, and I'm gonna science the shit out of this. It's like, I remember people in the theater were cracking up, man. So I got to go with that one too. Coriander, how about you?
I'm kind of like Eric. I've only seen these movies, once, and can't really think of a quote. So I'm gonna skip this round.
Okay. All right.
I can't give it to either of them.
Well. Okay, next category, human will, the human will. Okay, Eric, so who gets the point on how you would categorize the strength of their human will? based upon what we see in the movie?
I'm gonna go with Matt Damon because his will to survive was longer. You know, Sandra
Okay.
Bullock, that's what, over the span of maybe a day or two. I think eventually we get to the point where it says 3 months later on The Martian. And his will to live, like I said, is he going to freeze, or is he going to, or is he going to go back, or is he going to, waste his battery? Now he's got all these potatoes, but now he's got to ration them out because his food supply is getting low. And, he was so determined, like we haven't talked about the finale yet, but, he just coming up with stuff off top of his head. He knows if I don't do this, I'm screwed. So he does. What's he called? We're going to play Iron Man. You know what I mean? He's like, basically, I'm dead either way. So let's try it. So I think he has a stronger will to live just based on how long he survived.
Yeah. Okay. Kill. How about you?
This is tough. This is really tough because they both do have the will to survive. And I agree with Eric, time does play a factor in it. But for me, I'm judging it based off of help. And I said it earlier. Matt had a whole planet. He had the country of China help. He had NASA. I mean, look, and he had his shipmates, make a U-E around the Earth and turn back around, turn and burn to get him. Whereas Sandra, let's just face it. Out of her entire crew, she probably was one of the newer members. She wasn't as much of an astronaut, sort of say. She was more of a woman of science and a specialist, and she was thrusted into doing things like just like at the drop of the second, like, hey, if you don't jump right now, you're gonna die. This whole thing is gonna implode. You're gonna burn up. You need to put that suit on and just leap of faith it. So yeah, like just like I said, this is very close, but just on sheer skill and help, I'm gonna say Sandra gets it because I don't think she was as seasoned as an astronaut as Matt Damon probably was. And she got no help really. And it was just like, hey, good luck. So
all right. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
I mean, I'm not saying Sandra didn't like try and do her best, but she did give up at one point. She gave up and was gonna die. And like Eric was saying, Matt Damon, he was there for like months. All right. And yeah, the crew may have turned around and picked him up, but it took him months. I mean, it took them months to get to him. And he had how many things go wrong? The place where he was growing his potatoes blew up. That didn't stop him. All these things that were keeping him from either getting to the crater, or he would always find a way to survive and get it done and do what he had to do. And like we all said, at one point he looked like a skeleton, and he was still figuring out, I need to get home. I'm going to survive this. I'm giving it to Matt Damon. So yeah.
Okay.
I just looked something up just for clarification. 549 days for Matt Damon.
Wow, man. Almost
Now part of that also is just the mission time that they all were there, but his totality, including the mission and the disaster until he gets out, 549 Earth days.
Wow, that's crazy stuff, man. That's
right?
absolutely crazy, man. For me, I think it's tough, man, because both of them, like I said, man, if you ever need one of those movies to try to teach you about having a strong will to live and survive, these are movies that definitely pass the test. So I'm really torn between the two. And again, part of it is the length of time. Part of it is also who they are in the moment. I think, you said it really well too, Kill. Like Matt Damon, he does have that support. But I also look at it from the point of view that Matt Damon is also, he's much more equipped to survive in the situation he's placed in. Matter of fact, he was probably the best person to be in that situation, because to be able to eat is number one, right? and he's a botanist. So he knew exactly, what to do at the beginning before he even had any help. Whereas with Sandra Bullock, she was a specialist that was helping out with the electronics and stuff like that. And granted, you have to go through your training to be an astronaut, which she showed, down the line, but that's not her priority. That's not her specialty. She's on the ship and is being driven by George Clooney. So I have to edge this out to Sandra Bullock to Gravity a little bit, because in other words, she was like in a situation where she had to get serious real quick. You know what I mean? That'd be like if you were studying a subject in school, for 2 months or whatever, and then all of a sudden you're given this huge test that could change the fabric of your entire life forever. You know what I mean? That's what was going on with her. Whereas again, with Matt Damon, he did have the knowledge to at least for the essentials in the moment. It was really a question of could he wait it out, which was crazy because, like Coriander said, he went through hell up and down. But I'm going to edge it out to Sandra Bullock and Gravity on this one. Okay.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, man. It's absolutely
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, Matt, he should have got all 4 of these points.
Wow. All right. Super Tenors in the chat. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Ginger Ninja saying we got 29 likes. Hit the like button. You know what to do. Exactly. Yep. Thank you so much. All right. Next category. The theater experience. Okay. So two of us have had this and 2 of us have not. So in this category,
what kind of category is this, man?
Well, I'm about to explain it if you can.
This is bogus.
Chance. So Eric, assuming if you could see these movies in the theater based upon the entire movies, which one do you think should get the point as the one that you'd enjoy the most?
Oh, hands down, Gravity. I think just the way it looks, because it's pretty to look at, but the scene, like I said, what did Kill call it? The beautiful chaos. I think that's
mayhem.
what you
Beautiful
said.
mayhem.
Beautiful mayhem. Seeing that on the big screen, that scene I already talked about, where Sandra's still hooked to the shuttle, and she's spinning around, and that would have been amazing. And again, I think it would have been cool because the score would have been great. But what I loved about this film that I think would have added to the maybe the scary factor, because you're already in the dark. Space is dark as hell. You know what I mean? You have all this red with Mars, but I think I would kind of maybe feel more in the movie itself in a darkened room while these 2 people are in space.
All right. Very, very cool. Kill, how about you and why?
I'm going Gravity, man. I'll make this short and sweet. It is beautiful. I saw it in D-Box. So it's beautiful. Seats are vibrating, all the particles, just stuff blowing up, the spaceship blowing up and all that mayhem. It was spectacular.
In your theaters, your seats vibrate?
Well, the one I went to, it did.
Holy shit, man.
We have some of those about an hour away from where I live, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. We're deprived. Wow.
Coriander, how about you?
I have to go with Gravity too, because it's both of you guys said it, perfectly. It's scary, it's beautiful, it's definitely Gravity.
All right. Wayne is going with Gravity. Paul is also going with Gravity. So I did see both of these in theater too. And let me just tell you something. I'm going to go with Gravity. Yeah. This is pretty easy. I'm going to tell you this. This is like in my top 4 movie experiences ever.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Ever. Now, and I'm talking about experience of, the movie and being immersed. Now, I'm not saying, it's the greatest movie I ever saw in the theater, although it is a really great movie. But bro, when we were in that theater, I'll never forget this. The opening scene alone, when stuff was going on, and we had no idea really what we were in for, right? And this is a very unique type of movie. And first of all, I also want to give credit to Alfonso Cuarón for this too, man, because he went all out as far as just everything, written and directed, as far as I know. So when that opening scene happened and she's floating and spinning, and the music is so powerful, like it's hitting you. It's almost disorienting, but not disorienting. Like it's not like you're like, oh my God, it's like if you're on a ride and you want to get off.
Right.
If anything, you want to be even more immersed, because I saw people in the theater as stuff was happening. You see people doing this, like moving with it and stuff. Like it was crazy. And being that it's in space and you feel so alone and somewhat claustrophobic too, which is really weird because there were so many scenes where she was outside of the space stations or whatever, but it did feel kind of claustrophobic as well. So I got to tell you, man, the theater experience for that was absolutely amazing. No doubt at all. So got to go with Gravity on that one. Okay. Wayne saying, I watched Gravity in 3D, looked and sounded amazing. Very, very cool. All right. Okay, next category. Pick your poison. Okay, so Eric, in this category, you're going to be in the situation of both characters.
Okay.
And you're going to basically go through, what they went through. Okay. Which one is the hardest? Or which one would be the hardest for you to go through?
Like me personally, I'm not either character. Okay. Ooh.
Well, you're in the shoes of the character. So you're in Matt Damon's shoes. You're going to be on Mars for 500 and whatever amount of days Kill said it was. Or you're in Sandra Bullock's shoes and you're dealing with what she had to deal with. Which one is the harder experience?
But I am myself, not their character. That's what I'm trying to. That's going to influence my decision. Like, okay. Am I Matt Damon or am I Eric on Mars? You know what I mean?
How about this? I'll let you pick. You can pick. You can pick what you are as well.
Okay. Well, if I'm going that route, what's going to be the worst situation for me would be Sandra Bullock, because if I'm on Mars, and I'm Matt Damon, I know how to grow potatoes, so I'm not going to starve. You know what I mean? I know how to science the shit out of things. We've already said it. Sandra Bullock she doesn't have that much training when it comes to this type of situation, so she would have the bigger danger when it comes to everything. So I think it would be tougher if I was in Sandra's shoes.
Okay. All right. Kill, how about you?
This is tough, and we kind of said this before. You got time versus experience. They, lack thereof, actually. I'm going to say if I'm in their shoes, Sandra's experience is tougher, because she doesn't have the experience of the more veteran astronauts. Whereas Matt Damon, he's sitting around watching Happy Days. He's eating potatoes. He's making vlogs. He's checking email. He said, "Oh, I'm getting emails again." So I'm not saying it was easy for him, and stuff did keep happening, and he was up there for a very long time. But just the sheer fact of Sandra's jumping from space station to lifeboat raft type little shuttle, dodging flames and fires, spinning around like a tilt-a-whirl. She's just going through the ringer. So yeah, I would say Sandra.
Okay, all right, Coriander, how about you?
Oh my God, if I had to be spinning around and spinning around and spinning around like she was, I would be puking and probably choking on my vomit, and I'd die anyway. So I think her experience would be so bad for me, because some certain video games I can't even watch because I would get car sickness. I get motion sickness. I can't do it. So I would be so screwed. So yeah, man.
All right. I'm gonna pick the Martian on this one, man. Because even though he had those skills, it was he had that moment when he was talking to Jessica Chastain and basically said, "Look, I got a message that I want you to send to my parents." Like he knew that it was very, very doubtful that he was going to get out of this thing alive. You know, like he was able to push that timetable of being alive, but he knew that at some point it was basically do or die. If they don't get here in time, I'm going to starve to death, or worse. Because when the Have blew up, that was just a malfunction. You know, there was nothing that he necessarily did. I remember when he patched it up and he was inside of it, and he was kind of kneeling down and he was counting the potatoes that he had already grown. And every time you could hear the wind, you know, and the storm outside, like he would shake, you know, he was like, I mean, and I don't know, like, it's a great movie, don't get me wrong, but maybe they didn't even delve into that as much as they could have, as far as like every second that he was awake, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, this could be it, you know, even though he was pushing the timetable of survival forward, you know, constantly. But yeah, I'm going to give the point to the Martian on this one. All right, real quick too, in the chat we got ZZM in the chat. What's up, man? Good to see you, Matt. Hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you in a while. All right. Hope you're enjoying the conversation. All right. Paul is saying, I would rather be on Mars, the Martian. Okay. Wayne going with Gravity. I'm screwed. Okay. Russell is also going with Gravity. Okay. All right. Next category, Eric. Let's go to the next category. Emotion. What's the most emotional scene? Who gets the point? Is it Gravity or the Martian?
I'm going to go with Gravity. And for me, it's the scene where I don't know who she's talking to, but Sandra's talking to somebody on the comm, or she's at least hearing somebody talk.
Yeah.
And she's happy that she's hearing somebody, then she's singing along, and then she starts breaking down because she can't handle it anymore. And the whole 180 turn. Like I knew that was going to happen, but the way it kind of hits mixed with the way she performed that scene. Yeah, that was a rough scene.
Okay. All right. Kill, how about you?
I was going to say the same exact scene, but for me, it's the subtleties of it, where she's in the little kind of escape pod craft and she's trying to read the Russian handbook, and she's sitting there and she's cold, and she just starts taking off her glove a little bit and then just starts powering it down. Like, I'm just gonna go to sleep. I'm just gonna go to sleep. And it's just like, whoa. And especially after seeing her survive time and time again with every little thing that keeps trying to kill her in this movie. I'm sorry, like, everything keeps trying to kill her. Matt at least gets some respite to check emails and talk to NASA, you know, but this movie, there is no downtime. The Grim Reaper is on her heels. So yeah, that scene where she's just finally like, look, I'm checking it. I'm cashing in. It's a wrap.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
I mean, that was the exact same scene that I was going to say too. So, I mean, I'm not going to repeat what they said because there's no need.
All right. Okay. To me, I think, you know, there's a couple of scenes that are really emotional, actually, for both movies. And I think for The Martian, when they finally have him situated in the shuttle to be rescued, and, you know, he just breaks down. You know, he's like, you know, I'm just really anxious to see you again. Thank you so much for coming back for me. Like, I think there was a lot of subtlety in that performance too, by Matt Damon, that, you know, a lesser actor wouldn't have given enough emotion or would have given too much. You know what I mean? And I think in that moment, you know, you can really feel the fact that he's made it this long, but it is still not over. It's nowhere close to being over because he's really in a makeshift shuttle. They had to they take so much out of it to make it so that it wasn't as heavy. And you could just tell in that moment that he was on edge, but thankful, possibly hopeful, but also thinking, how am I going to do this? Right. The scene you guys are talking about in Gravity, that's a great scene for Sandra Bullock as far as emotion as well. I also thought the scene where she was talking to Matt to George Clooney's character and talking about her daughter, and telling him to say hello to her, and that I'm not going to give up, and this and that. I thought that was a very emotional scene as well. That being said, I do have to give the point to Gravity, because that scene where she is talking to that person who's speaking another language, and she's connecting to someone that can't really connect to her because that's all that she has, and it was just really sad. It truly was. So I got to give the point, just edging it out just a little bit, to Gravity. All right. Real quick, Ginger Ninja is saying we've got 31 likes. All right.
Nice.
Very cool. Wayne going with Gravity, feels more isolation. Mayanne going with Gravity because I felt it and cried. Russell is also going with Gravity. Okay. All right. Next category, Matt Damon or Sandra Bullock. Eric, which actor gave the best overall performance based upon what we see in these two movies?
It's tough.
They usually are tough. It usually is tough.
Yeah, no, this one really. I'm just gonna edge it to Sandra a little bit more because, like I said earlier, she was pretty much a one-woman show. She didn't really have a lot of people to, work off of. George is gone within 30 minutes. Matt can at least, work off the people that he's talking to or anything like that. And I think the fact that, less is more, she has almost no one to work with other than the director. You know what I mean? I think she gives a stronger and better performance. Not to knock Matt Damon, though.
All right. Kill, how about you?
This is very close. Matt has more layers that he shows. The comedy, the emotion, the determination. But with that being said, his screen time is taken away a little bit because it is an ensemble cast. There are other people, even though this is a Matt Damon vehicle. I'm going to go with Sandra, sort of for some of the same reasons Eric just said, because it's literally her. And she's, doing scenes where she's talking to herself, where she's showing frustration in the situation or fear or determination. And it's really just her just showing how great of a thespian she is. And that's tough to do and sell when you're really the primary person. It's just you. So you really have to have the chops for that. So I'm slightly going to give it to Sandra.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
I mean, yeah, Sandra went through some shit, but did her acting and stuff, and I don't know. She had the manuals, guys. Everybody forgets she did have the manuals to help her. So no, just say it. But anyway, okay. Yeah. So I'm still gonna give it to Matt because his character just, I don't know, went through a lot. He may have had people to talk to, here and there on a computer and whatever else. He had people coming for him, but I don't know. He was there for a long time, and yeah, man, I got to give it to Matt.
All right.
Sandra was up there. What? How long? Like, how long was her character up there? Not that long.
2 days. I don't know. 2 days. I can't remember, but obviously not 500 days. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, she made it back. It was all good. So, woohoo.
Wow. Okay.
Well, she didn't get malnourished. She wasn't like a skeleton by the time she came back.
She
You know
was
what
in
I mean?
space more. But listen, let me get my thoughts on it, because I think that when I think about both of these actors did a great job. Okay, so let's just put that out there. I really do think both of them did, because both of these movies are on their shoulders, but they both do have interactions with other characters for a certain amount of time. Some in both in person, but also like with Matt through what he types. But when I think about overall performance, I've got to edge this out to Matt Damon. And the reason I'm going to do that is, kind of like what we were talking about a little bit earlier, is that, he's portraying a character that is just, he's from A to Z. He's showing all these different emotions. He's also showing intensity. He's also showing despair. He's also showing hope. He's showing, a way to have levity. He's showing a way to connect with the people that he did have connections with, as far as the crew in the beginning of the film and when they came back. So, and it's just the way that it is, how the movie is crafted. So I've got to edge this out to Matt Damon just a little bit, but I think both of them, and obviously Sandra Bullock, had a great performance. So there's no doubt about that. All right. Let's see. We got Gina still in the chat with us. Wayne going with Matt Damon, wider range of emotions, funny, serious, silent, not silent. Paula is going with Sandra Bullock. Russell is going with Sandra Bullock. All right. Okay. And another person loving the Pet Cemetery shirt. Okay.
Well, thank you.
All right. Next up, the finale, Eric. So the finale, we're basically dealing with, in both movies, their final, maneuver to get saved, and then, all the way out to the end. So I think with both movies, we're talking probably about 15 minutes of screen time easily.
Both are really good. I'm gonna go to The Martian for this one. I like how they both make basically their own rocket propulsion unit to get them where they need to go.
Exactly.
I love both of that. What I'm giving it to The Martian is I like to see what happened to the characters afterwards. You know what I mean? Sandra, she lands, she's happy, we don't know where she is, and then it just kind of ends. You know what I mean? I like seeing Matt Damon. I love him sitting on the bench and he sees that little flower.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? Coming out just to remind him of, the potatoes and stuff like that. And he's given a class and he mentions, he had to eat potatoes that he grew with his own waste. But then I love how we get to see the other characters. You know what I mean? That one, it was China that was helping him. So you get to see that one astronaut that they said, okay, well, we'll help you if you let one of your next astronauts be from China. He got, they fulfilled that. I like that. And I've already mentioned seeing, Donald Glover happy, but he's still by himself. Sebastian Stan and that other astronaut,
Kate Mara.
They had a baby. That was sweet to see and stuff like that. So it was happy-go-lucky. Sounds too corny, but it was a very happy ending, and I'm glad we actually got that after such a bleak freaking movie. You know what I mean? So
right? Yeah, I know. That's a good point, man. Kill, how about you?
I like the finale maneuvers from both of them to get home and get safe. I'm slightly gonna give it to The Martian, and my reasoning for that is essentially what he's maneuvering in, he's not controlling it. It's essentially a convertible. They've taken so much stuff away out of it, and he's just like, look, it's a living. I gotta do it. This is insane. And are you serious? Where at least Sandra was in a proper, return vessel for the most part. But they're both very good, but I'm slightly going to give it to The Martian.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Killian. It's crazy what Matt Damon had to go through to get back. And, the fact that he poked a hole and used it as his glove to propel him to where he had to go. That was pretty cool. So, yeah, man.
Yep. All right. For me, it's tough because these are both similar in a lot of ways. And like you were saying, Eric, the one big difference is seeing what happens to the characters afterwards. Although I will say this, I think for Gravity, I think that worked. That felt like that was the right ending because, again, and we alluded to this on the poster. I think Kel said it. It was about. It was about her will to live. That's basically what she recaptured in this movie. So when she crawled out of the ocean and she couldn't even push herself up. You know, she didn't have the strength. You could see on her face, kind of like, no, I'm gonna stand up. And she stood up so slowly, and then the camera just pans above her into the atmosphere. It was very poetic. That, you know, that was saying a lot without her saying one single word. So I think that was cool as a difference versus with the Martian. You do see what happens to these characters, and that was great. And you also got great music playing too, right? And Matt teaching people and saying, you know, you better either accept that or you know, get ready to go to work. And it was really cool. That being said, I think I got to edge this out to the Martian, because when he was propelled and those plastic the canvas covering started to pop off, and Matt Damon would look to each side, and like all you see is space. You know, he had broken his rib because of the G-force. He got knocked out, and on the rescue ship, you know, Michael Pena and Jessica Chastain, they're like, we're way too far off. We can't reach him. Can you imagine? I mean, at that point in the movie, I'm thinking, wait a minute, now how's this going to work? They couldn't even reach him because they were so far off as far as, you know. But he said, you know, let's go Iron Man. And I loved that. That was so cool, man. Like, in other words, his spirit, his will to live was still there, even though he was so skinny, broken rib, 500 days. You know, it's just crazy. So I got to give this one just nudging it to the Martian. All right. Okay. Next category. This is the final category. And once we're done with this, we will keep the point total. So if you are choosing to do a super chat to help one of these films, this is the last opportunity in this category. So Eric, we got to make a choice, man. The Martian or Gravity? Who gets the point?
I'm going Gravity with this one. As great as The Martian was, one of us said it earlier, Gravity is like a roller coaster. And once that first little piece of debris hits, it doesn't stop. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see what bad luck's going to happen to Sandra next. You know what I mean? There were times with The Martian that it just kind of dipped a little bit, and it's just, you know, trying to figure out how to do this, how to do that. I'm enthralled from beginning to end, you know, and it's a perfect 90 minutes. You know what I mean? I expected this to be a long movie like The Martian. 90 minutes. There's no pacing problems. Boom, boom, boom. Loved it.
All right. Kill, how about you?
I'm gonna have to go with Gravity. I love both movies, but Alfonso Cuarón didn't get an Oscar for nothing. He was able to have a tight movie with no fat that just keeps the excitement there, the terror. I have yet, like, one thing I'll say is I have never seen space look this frightening and scary. This was more of a horror movie than The Martian was, because space is omnipresent and it's trying to kill her at every turn. Every single thing that she does, every respite she thinks she has, is like secretly plotting to kill her. And just, you know, it was a roller coaster ride of emotion and terror and excitement. So yeah, I got to go with Gravity.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
I mean, I enjoyed both of these movies. First time watches, I enjoyed both. So to choose, it's kind of tough because I don't know. I've only seen them both once. You know what I mean? So, I mean, shit, dude.
Flip a coin.
I'm gonna give it to Matt Damon just because, you know, I love the beauty of, you know, the space scenes that, you know, Sandra saw. Not so much what she was going through, but just the, you know, space itself. It was like, wow. You know, Star Trek, they do space so well. For way back in the day, I was blown away anyway by how space looked in those Star Trek movies. But all I have to say is, yeah, you know, Matt just, I don't know. There was just something about this movie that I enjoyed the music. You know, it brought me back to especially Donna Summers. My mother loved Donna Summer. So I remember hearing that as a kid, and yeah, just some of the music just kind of brought me back in that way. So yeah.
All right. Okay. Both of these movies are fantastic, and I'm really glad we're doing this again. This is definitely a different type of battle that we have here, but I'm glad we're doing it. And these are two great movies, and I think it's also really cool that for you, Eric, and also for you, Coriander, you guys hadn't seen these movies,
No.
right? So I think it's just cool that you guys not only saw them, but you enjoyed both of them, and it might have been something that necessarily wasn't something that you was, oh, I gotta watch that, which is, I'm sure that's going to happen for a lot of people that could be watching this right now, or maybe doing the rewatch. But it proves the point that we've talked about so much on this channel specifically, is that keeping that open mind. And Eric, you talk about that a lot as well, keeping an open mind and allowing yourself to watch some different things, because you might find some really great movies, and these are two great movies. To choose between them is so difficult, because I enjoy them for two different reasons. And I think one has a different type of entertainment value, where there is some levity. You're talking about The Martian, of course, some levity, and also some things that kind of work your brain a little bit, like, wow, how is he going to do that? And he's sciencing the shit out of stuff. And then, of course, with Gravity, it's a roller coaster ride. It's a roller coaster ride. It's about the indomitable spirit of human beings, and it's a visual feast. That being said, I'm going to edge this out to Gravity. And the reason why, when I think about it kind of goes back to my theater experience. It was just, like I said, it was just crazy, just everything. And like you said, Kill, Alfonso Cuarón won for Best Director. And well said. Not saying that Ridley Scott shouldn't have for The Martian, because I think this is a great Ridley Scott film. And Ridley Scott is a master. There's no doubt about that. You guys know that. But anyways, I'm gonna edge it out to Gravity, just because of the fact of just in total, just so many things just like hitting you, and you're just on this roller coaster ride for 95 minutes, and it's crazy. All right. Very, very cool. In the chat, just to catch up with these guys. Yeah, and Wayne was saying The Martian more entertaining, better rewatch value. Russell going with Gravity. Paula going with The Martian. Okay. All right. And Val, thank you for putting the links in the chat. We appreciate that. So guys, let's do our tally and our recap. Eric, we'll start with you, and then we're going to figure out, or I'm going to count up the points and figure out who wins tonight's match.
Okay. I love Battle World, and the reason why I love Battle World is I get to watch a lot of films I'd never seen before, like both movies tonight, that just kind of go under my radar. I mean, I knew of The Martian, I knew of Gravity, and then like things like Smile and Barbarian. I never would have thought of, what, I'm going to watch those. And I really look forward to when we pick films that are like non-franchises, not Halloween, not Friday the 13th, because it opens it up to something that, I could really, really dig. And that's how tonight was. I really liked all the performances of The Martian. I love how Ridley Scott, he made you feel isolated with Matt Damon. But I also like this director, from Gravity, because I would kill to have seen this on the big screen. Next time I watch it, I'm going to watch it in the dark in my living room, so I can have as much of a theater experience as I can, because like I said earlier, in the dark, you can feel like you're with Sandra and George when they're doing the spacewalk and stuff like that, and that's going to add to the enjoyment. So hats off to Kill for tonight, man. I never probably would have thought of watching either one of these movies, and I'm glad we did, because they were both kick-ass in their own way.
Yeah, both of these movies are great, and both the directors are amazing. We know Ridley Scott knows space.
Mm-hmm.
we know Ridley knows space, tip the hat. But the one thing I'll say about Gravity, Gravity is what going to the movies is about. just because of the way it looks on the big screen, the sounds, just everything, the roller coaster ride. And it's funny because at this time you had these two movies and you had another movie, and I'm sure Knight, you know what I'm gonna say, that came out around the same time, a little different vibe, Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey, and that was Christopher Nolan. So at in this kind of 2 to 3 year window, you had some really intelligent science fiction movies in terms of outer space. That's what I mean by science fiction, not aliens, but just in space. And these two are just great ones that kind of have been lost to time a little bit. So guys in the chat, if you have not seen either of these movies, or if you've only seen one of them, or if you haven't seen them in a while, give them another viewing. They're great movies, both of them.
Agreed.
Okay, yeah. So I enjoyed both of these movies. I'd watch them again, both of them. I think they both, the rewatchability for both are pretty damn good. And I'm happy that we're doing a battle world of science fiction and not horror. We're getting into something a little different, which hopefully with my two picks, they'll be approved, because I want to get back into some fantasy. So that's what I'm hoping to bring to the table next. So yeah, it was enjoyable to do these movies. So yeah.
All right. Okay. And Matt was saying, I can't rate them because I haven't seen them, but now I will. There you go. That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. These are movies that, again, if we choose to do them, chances are the recommendation is pretty high that you guys should check them out. And as a matter of fact, that definitely makes these discussions even more fun, is when you guys have also seen the movies themselves. I will say, they're both great. They really are, echoing what you guys said. And I agree with you, Kill. If you have not seen these movies, or if you haven't seen them in a long time, I think it's great viewing. It really is very inspirational. Okay, so we've got the points tallied up. Okay, and we have a score. It went back and forth for a little while, but then we've got a score that ends up with 26-41 for the winner. The winner for tonight,
We all know,
is
I knew it.
Yeah.
Gravity wins.
What?
And yeah, and
Poor
and I
Matt.
think
That's bullshit.
why is it bullshit?
He'll go drown himself in some mashed potatoes. He'll be fine.
They're
There's
both
no
great
lying
movies.
here.
Yeah.
They're both
I'm
great
not saying
movies.
it wasn't a great movie, but what his
All right.
character went through compared to, Little Miss driving the bus here, nah.
Wow.
Oh man. Okay. So he's messing me up, man. No, but seriously, both of these movies are really good. Well, you enjoyed both of them, right, Coriander?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I mean, who knows if we did this battle again? Maybe it would be different. Who knows? But real quick too, in the chat for you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. It helps to support the channel. Also, if you get a chance to share this out on your social media, that would help us as well. And it also will help us to do other types of battles that we have in our little repertoire of ideas, which is very, very many. So we will catch you guys next Tuesday for Battle World. Hope you guys will join us again. And have a good night. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Cheers.
Peace.
Church.